So I'm making a wrestling takedown dummy for Jordan. And I'm making it because getting taken down by Jordan is really starting to hurt. This is the second time I'm gonna be making it. I made one for his oldest brother back in 2016 and it worked out well. Here are some of the parts that I'm gonna need. Pretty simple, some PVC pipe, heat gun, and then all of the necessary couplers. And I'm gonna walk you guys through the process. All right, so all of the bends in the PVC pipe are going to be done using a heat gun. So I'm going to heat up the PVC pipe to bend it. You're going to see you'll have to do this to form the feet, and then anywhere where a joint would be, like an ankle joint, elbow, knee, etc., except for the hips. And you'll see that these couplers right here are what are going to make up like the main, like the hip area and the shoulders. And in order to make those bends as smooth as possible, you got to fill the PVC pipe with sand. All right, so the first step is for me to get on a coupler right here on the end, and I'm gonna fill this up probably up to here with sand, because the first thing I'm gonna create is the foot. Just a little extra tape on there just to kind of hold it, in place. So I have the pipe filled up to about halfway. I'm gonna cap off the other end. You can't fill it all the way to the top, because then if you do, when you start to bend it, the sand's not gonna have anywhere to go. Definitely get some gloves, and I'm gonna set the heat gun to high and just start heating up the PVC pipe until it's pliable. It's gonna take a while. It's pretty cold in the garage, so it's taking a little longer than usual. So I'm gonna put this up on some aluminum foil, see if I can trap a little more heat in there. Now you can see as it's heating up, it's starting to bend. That's exactly what we want. Make sure the sand is there. I'm bringing this 2.5 pound plate. There we go. And shape it around that. Get the claw, the wet rag, set it in place. All right, so I'm gonna heat this part up a little bit. The feet are actually gonna point in, and then I'm gonna come up for the ankle. All right, let's see. And now I gotta come up. I think that looks pretty good. That's about where we want it. It has to come here and then bend a little forward like that. You don't want this to heat up anymore. We're gonna make the ankle joint, which is less than 90 degrees, right? So I'm gonna heat this part up. All right, so now you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about here. And you can see now that it stands up in balance, right? I think we're good. So now I'm gonna put the knee joint in right around here. About 15 inches down. You're gonna heat up about 1.5 to 2 inches on each side of the 15-inch mark, and then I'm gonna bend the knee joint. I think that's soft enough. Do a gentle bend back. Now I'm gonna set it with the rag, and what we should have is a leg in which the knee is slightly over the toes. You can see that the knee is slightly over the front of the foot. There's the first leg. Decently smooth bends right there. If you don't put the sand in, then those bends are going to crease. All right, time to start on the second leg. All right, so I got both of the legs done, and now I'm gonna start on the hips. You can see that I heated this area up to get a little slight bend here before I put the hip together. So you wanna get the feet you know, about where you would like them to be. I might have to adjust this again once we get the middle section in, otherwise the feet will kind of be like that. So this is about the right width. Knees are going to be pointed slightly out, like right about here. So I'm eyeballing all of this, but I know it's going to be like that. And then this center piece is going to go in here, right? Because that's going to attach to the body. So, you know, just kind of working out how long I need to cut this. There we go. So you can kind of see how wide the hips are going to be. So I got to cut this in half, and then this will go like that. Now you can see the center section's in there. I got to cut the piece for the torso. It's going to go in here like this, of course, and this is going to lean a little bit forward like that. Kind of see where I'm going with that. The torso might be a little on the long side, so that's why you don't want to glue anything together, obviously, until everything is to your liking. I cut these shoulder pieces here. These might be a little on the long side, but those go like that. So we'll see. Of course, these guys go on here and here. That's not too bad. So now I'm gonna cut and then form the arms. I'm gonna come down here like this, and then the head and neck. Here's where we're at so far. Definitely got to cut this down. So I had Jordan stand next to it this morning, and the torso's too long. So I cut it down, and I like how that stands. It's balanced, so nothing is glued, and you can see right now that it's still pretty, it's pretty sturdy. Once I get everything glued together, it's gonna be solid. I'm gonna cut this down to about 20 inches for each arm, and it'll just kind of come down and then angle inward. And then I just got to do the head and neck, and then we're done as far as the shaping is concerned, and then we'll get it all glued up. Got the arms in, got the head and neck. I'm gonna measure down here probably about halfway, and then heat this up and then bend it inward. I filled this up with sand because you don't want, again, you want the bend to be as smooth as possible. The sand's not gonna stay in here, so then afterwards, obviously, I'll empty it out and put it in the other arm. And that's that. So we're gonna heat up probably 1.5 to 2 inches on each side of the 10-inch mark. So you always want to do that. And you want to make sure you heat the pipe thoroughly around, so that way when you start to bend it, you don't get any cracking. Make sure that's flat. And I'll line it up with this plate here and just bend it in. However much I think it should bend in. That's about right. And there you go with his arms. And that looks pretty good. So now I'm gonna clean up all the edges of the pipe. So all these guys, all these bits right here, I'm gonna sand those down, cap everything off, and then start to glue everything together. Once I adjust the angles, I'm gonna mark everything on the hinges, and we're done, man. All right. Look at that. Jordan's gonna love it. So I'm just gonna put the end caps on the hands and then the head, and then I'm gonna fashion out some supports for the ankles. All right, so I didn't film this part, but it's pretty easy to visualize. I took a PVC pipe, cut it in half, heated it up, and flattened it. So you end up with this. And then once you flatten it and you start to reheat it, it'll start to get its round shape back. Here, I'm gonna use this stuff called Miracle Tape. Love this stuff, works great. And I'm gonna wrap it on there to secure it, and then we'll be good to go. So here's what the bracing looks like after it's installed with the vinyl tape. I'll take you guys through the process of doing this other side. shape this. Grab this rag, wet rag, to start setting the shape. Bam, that's where we're gonna go. You tape it on there. There you go. Both ankles taped up, ready for abuse. So to finish this off, what I'll do is get some padding, some PVC or pipe padding. I'll wrap it around the legs and the arms and the body, so give it a little more size, a little more depth. And yeah. All right, so I made some adjustments to the final design. If you look back at the beginning of the video, I made the feet rounded around the weight plate. This one right here, I had to extend it out just for the sake of balance. And then now everything's all good and glued up. Joints are all solid, so nothing's twisting and rotating. Now I have the pads, the pipe padding that I'm gonna add onto it. That's all gonna go, you know, here and all the way down, so I'll videotape that. Since I have some extra PVC, I'm gonna flatten this rounded piece. I'm gonna heat it up, flatten it, and then mold it around the hip to give this part a little more strength. I'm only doing this because I don't think it really needs it, but if I don't use this piece of PVC pipe, it's gonna be sitting around the house for the next 10 years. So something this long, it's a good idea to have a piece of aluminum, and I'm just gonna go back and forth until this thing starts to soften up. All right, so you wanna heat the PVC pipe up until it's soft like this. All right, so I didn't film that whole process because it had to happen quick. It's cold out, so the PVC cools down pretty fast, but I heated up the pipe, clamped it between these two boards, and once it's cooled down, we'll be ready to go. All right, there it is, nice and flat. I'm gonna take my rag here and just kind of cool it off a little bit, because I'm gonna have to reheat where I'm gonna make the bends in order to get it to fit. There you go. So that's the hip reinforcement piece. So I'm gonna duct tape that on there and then cover it up with some pipe. There you go. I forgot to hit record, but it's pretty self-explanatory. I got this thicker foam wrap for PVC pipes, and I'm just fitting it here on his leg. All right, got the foam padding on the legs. Take a step back here. So foam padding's on the legs, like that. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then this leftover piece is gonna go right here. I decided to bend the hands up a bit because it was just a straight, there was a bend here, but then the angle just went straight. So to avoid getting poked in the eye, I went ahead and heated this joint up here, kind of like the wrist, and I bent it up. There you go. Jordan's got a big tournament coming up this weekend, so see if we can get in some extra practice on Saturday. His tournament's on Sunday. And yeah, so I think we're good.